I had to make a choice. But not to worry. The Force will be with you. That's it. Then she was off.
Clone Wars Episode 7 doesn't literally move the characters forward. They begin and end the episode in Pyke custody, but it does flesh out these characters and define the dynamic between them, and sets the stage for the season's final arc. And of course, there's lots of Star Wars Easter eggs and references to unpack. The title card of the episode says, "Who you were doesn't define who you are." This is referring to Ahsoka struggling with her identity after leaving the Jedi Order. But it can also mean the Martez sisters. After their parents died, they were forced to look out for each other and not for others.
We can't count on anyone, so we count on ourselves. I know.
Now, we've seen this Pyke prison before in the episode The Lost Ones. I mentioned this in our last video, but in case you missed it, the Pykes have appeared in several episodes of this show and in the movie Solo. In this episode, we also saw Marg Krem, who appeared in The Lost Ones, and his Major Domo 5, who we first saw in the comic Darth Maul, son of Dathomir. The design of the cell doors and of all of Obadiah integrates the same lines and structures as the Pykes' helmets, and the red force field of their cells has been used several times in Star Wars, but we first saw it in The Phantom Menace. This alien is a Snivian. Now, we first saw one in the Mos Eisley Cantina, but this one is wearing blue, an homage to the rare blue version of this 1978 action figure. This whole arc has been filled with background characters dressed like the original Star Wars action figure line. Ahsoka learns about the Martez's tragic past, and it hits a little too close to home for her.
We watched, like so many others, as they chased Zero and his gang down the portal, leaping from speeder to speeder as they went.
She had a few run-ins with Zero the Hutt over the years. Now, Zero, if you don't remember, is Jabba's great uncle, a gangster, and he talks like Truman Capote.
Oh, you can't imagine the unspeakable things I've suffered.
And for my money, he's the most annoying character in Clone Wars.
Thanks, Mama.
This incident she mentions,
Some red-eyed alien protecting Zero blasted the engine of an ascending cargo transport.
isn't in a Clone Wars episode. It takes place immediately after the episode Hostage Crisis, when Cad Bane, that's the red-eyed alien, breaks Zero out of jail. They also mention,
She was beautiful. Dark robes contrasting against her light green skin, penetrating eyes.
Now this sounds an awful lot like Luminara Unduli, who Ahsoka was also close to and fought beside. She was good friends with Luminara's Padawan, Barriss Offee, but Barriss eventually broke bad, bombed the Jedi Temple, and was responsible for Ahsoka leaving the Order. So all of this, like I said, is really hitting close to home for Ahsoka. This backstory gives her a great reason to keep her power secret and adds an extra level of tension to the story. Now we want to know when the Martez sisters are going to find out the truth. The torture droid is the same one that Jabba used in his palace. Traces torture with electricity in a setup that neatly duplicated Han's torture in Empire Strikes Back. The two prisoners she breaks out are an Ithorian and a Nikto, and wow, Ithorians are strong. Later on, we'll see a Rodian, a Twi'lek, someone who looks like the original Ponda Baba action figure, a Zygerian, and this species took me forever to place, but I finally figured it out. This is your mom. Nah, I'm just horsing around. To me, this looks like an Alina, one of the aliens we saw pod racing in The Phantom Menace. This Pyke lets out a Wilhelm scream, a sound effect that's been used in basically every movie. There's a slight variation of Luke Skywalker's theme when she opens up the cell door. And this gag was borrowed from a similar moment in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. They split up and Ahsoka gets the job of clearing the way for their escape, very similar to Obi-Wan being sent off to shut down the tractor beam. Ahsoka also catches the eye of some Mandalorians, and this is a super cool Easter egg and a setup for later in the season. The leader of these Mandalorians is Bo-Katan, voiced by Battlestar Galactica's Katie Sackhoff. At this point, she's leading the rebellion against Darth Maul's forces to regain control of Mandalore. Now, we saw the beginning of this civil war back in Season 5. The woman with her is Ursa Wren. She's the mother of Sabine Wren from Star Wars Rebels, and later will advocate for Bo to lead their people against the Empire. Bo-Katan mentions fighting Ahsoka before. This was in the episode Friend in Need, when Ahsoka followed her crush, Lux Bonteri, when he tried to make a deal with Death Watch. Back then, they were enemies, but later in the season they become allies, as we've seen in the trailer. Now I am wondering why the Mandalorians are on Obadiah. The Pyke Syndicate allied with Darth Maul and a Shadow Collective to conquer Mandalore. But in the comic book, Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, issue number 4, they left this alliance. So I'm not sure if this episode takes place before, during, or after those events. Maybe Bo and the other Death Watch members perform some subterfuge that helps force the Pykes to abandon Maul so they can liberate Mandalore. Well, that's all the Easter eggs I found, guys. How about you? Let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.